Coming to us from this morning, and I believe she is standing by with Stuart Martin, and it is all about science and technology this morning, as it really does play a pivotal role in the world that we live in today. Lebo, it is back to you. Good morning.
All right, thank you so much there, Pearl. Now, space imaging is helping in detecting geographical changes that will have an adverse effect on people. Now, Stuart Martin is standing by to talk about Geoterra image. What are we talking about? It all sounds like, two big words for me. Let's bring in Stuart to tell us about Geoterra image. Stuart, good morning. Welcome to Morning Live. What does this company actually do?
Well, we take the imagery that's been downloaded by people like this institution and turn it into information for decision making. So we take those pictures, and they're very sophisticated pictures, and turn it into practical information, quantifying change over time, quantifying what's happening in an area.
Yeah. Let's talk about your work with the department in government in general, and the work that you've done with particularly the Department of Agriculture.
Yes, the Department of Agriculture is very easy. It's about food security. It's about understanding what crops are being planted. Do we have an oversupply of food? We know we're in a drought situation at the moment. What's the impact been on crops? So we take images and we start mapping out where all the agricultural fields are, which we then use in support of the Crop Estimates Committee, which gives information back to government about food security and also provides information on what crops have been planted.
Yeah. Let's talk about your work, Informal Settlements, which is a huge problem in South Africa. How do the two worlds meet, Geoterra and Informal Settlements?
Well, we know we're living in a very dynamic country, and with lots of things changing over time. And one of the things which is of significance is, where do people live and how is that settlement dynamics happening? So we're taking satellite imagery to provide a consistent and a repeatable overview of what's happening in the country. And the one thing we're looking at is how are our cities changing? But it's not just the cities. We find that the villages in rural areas are changing dramatically, which is something we maybe not always aware of. But when we move to the cities, we think about informal settlements as a massive growth area, but that's not necessarily the case. We're seeing that there's more growth in what we call the backyard structures in a lot of these areas. Take a place like Diepsloot down the road, where we note that there's 2, 3, 4 additional properties or households in a stand. And what is the implication on service delivery, like telecommunications, electricity, water use, sewage, etc.? And we're able to map this out and provide inputs back to government, local authorities, etc., to say, this is what's happening in an area, this is what you should be aware of, this is what's changing, this is the dynamics which is literally happening on the ground.
Stuart, but how accurate is Geoterra?
Well, the point is with the quality of satellite imagery now, we are able to put a point on a map which will clearly indicate where that structure is, where that house is, and we're able to then use that to understand what's happened. The point is that we can do this very accurately, and we can repeat it every 6 months, every 1 year, and make 100% sure what's happening in an area without having to necessarily go there and visit it in the field.
How do you then access information for an area as old as Alexander, for instance? Diepsloot was just the other day, but Alexander has been there for years.
Well, you say Diepsloot, it's quite recent. Diepsloot appeared around 94, 95 type of time frames. We can have use satellite imagery back to around 84, those type of time dates. It's not the quality that you used to nowadays because technology has changed. But when we're starting to understand change, one of the projects we've recently done is to map the whole of South Africa for the Department of Environment Affairs and provide a change map from 1990 to 2013 and say, what has changed in mining? What has changed in agriculture? What's changed in forestry over these times? Where's the water bodies changed? But getting back to Alex has been there a very long time. We are able to use some of the imagery that's available to just show how Alex has grown, collapsed, changed around, how its nature and its dynamics have changed, and that we can do very easily.
All right, what is the best part of your job?
Well, we don't have I like to say I sit and I look at from space, and I see the world as it is. And we are able to provide input into police type applications, through to forestry, through to agriculture, through to water resource management. And that's the exciting bit, because we're taking a technology and turning it into an application which And every day the application is different. We are able to provide data in support of a myriad of applications. And that makes it interesting because no day is the same.
All right, Stuart, thank you so much for talking to us.
Pleasure. Thank you very much.
All right. Stuart Martin of Geoterra Image talking about space imaging and how it affects our daily lives. For instance, for you and I sitting there at home. If you're wondering what we are doing here, we are celebrating Space Week, and it is by the Department of Science and Technology. Right now, we are at the Hartbeespoort near Krugersdorp at the South African National Space Agency. This is where all the work gets done. Behind me is all the antennas and what they do. We spoke a little earlier to the Deputy Director General of the Department of Science and Technology about the work being done by the agency, as well as the acting CEO who we spoke to a little earlier on the program. All right.